Thank you for sharing your life's greatest hits with us.
Peace.
Thank you for sharing your life's greatest hits with us. I fumbled it the first time, so I'm going to say it.
Peace.
Welcome to Life's Greatest Hits. I'm Jason Earle.
And I am Jordan Foley.
Here's how it goes. Each episode, one of us chooses a vinyl. The two of us get together and listen one time through. Then we discuss our takeaways. On this episode, we will be listening to Snipe Hunter by Tyler Childers. And for the first time in Life's Greatest Hits history, we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Tyler Hood.
That's right.
Hey, y'all. Happy to be here. Honored to be here. Thank you.
We're so stoked you are here.
Yeah,
so
man.
we've got Tyler Childers' Snipe Hunter that we're going to talk about. Tyler Childers is a 34-year-old singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist from Lawrence County, Kentucky. His debut record, Bottles and Bibles, was released in 2011, but it was 2017's Sturgill, Simpson, and David Ferguson-produced Purgatory that launched Childers into icon status. He's a trailblazer and a talent with few peers, a risk-taker who makes records in the spirit of outlaws like Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings. And Childers' highly anticipated Snipe Hunter album was released on July 25th, 2025. And if you can't tell it in my voice, I'm here to tell you we are so excited to give this a listen for this episode. And again, very special episode because we've long been wanting to welcome guests to Life's Greatest Hits. And the first person we had in mind way back was Mr. Tyler Hood.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys.
If you don't know, Tyler is my best friend. But he's also a bandmate. He's a member of Jordan Foley in the Wheelhouse, and we go way back to 2019, and had a mutual love for this kind of music in particular. Found out that that's your favorite band. Oh, that's my favorite band. And
Found our people.
Yeah, Childers was one of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we
saw him live at the Plaza.
That's right.
Together.
We saw him live, front row at the Plaza Live.
That's right.
Hell of a set. That might have been one of my favorite shows.
It was right before Country Squire came out.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That was so good.
Back when you could see him at a place like the Plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't happen now.
No.
Dude, it was at a time when I didn't buy tickets because I was like, I'll get them later.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
Those days are gone.
And your affection for Childers came at a later time, really.
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah. I've always dug his music, but it wasn't until last summer when he and his band opened for the Rolling Fucking Stones here at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. And seeing him live is a spiritual experience. We say that sometimes, but it's as close to church as I get as going to see live music.
Yep.
And seeing Tyler Childers and his band, and especially on a stage like that, opening for the Rolling Stones, who were also awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
But Tyler belonged on that stage, and then I went, I need to pay more attention. I need to do better. And so I'm really excited for this record for a lot of reasons, one of which is I did the whole deep dive yesterday on every single record, and man, did I see it through a different light this time.
Yeah.
Well, we've even talked about on this episode how like your main interest or your love for Tyler's music is really his newer stuff.
Yeah.
And I kept saying for a long time, take a dive, because his older shit is like the reason why I got into Childers in the first place.
So many people come from the older stuff and praise the older stuff, but I love that you come from the newer stuff and then go backwards. That's rad.
That's super fun, man.
Really
of course I knew those records, but didn't really know them, right? And it wasn't until Long Violent History and we'll talk about that later, but it wasn't until Long Violent History that I went like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
When you saw him live, was the crowd singing a lot to all of the songs? So that's one thing I remember about the Plaza Live show is that entire audience was, us included, of course, but we were screaming the lines.
I remember vividly, we were behind, I think, a mom and her kid on her hip.
Yeah.
And during I Swear to God.
Yeah.
That like 6-7-year-old child, she was screaming
Screaming.
It was so fun. It was so fun.
It literally shook the entire venue.
Yeah.
So I think there's obviously an affection that has grown with Tyler Childers, and a lot of artists these days have been heavily influenced by Tyler Childers, who is influenced by like you said, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, but also like Creedence Clearwater Revival, clearly Sturgill Simpson.
I was gonna say Sturgill and Jason Isbell.
What an
for
interesting
sure.
story that was with how they connected through his drummer, Sturgill's drummer, and he just sent Sturgill demos, and before you knew it, he's like, "Yeah, let's do this." And they're coming from the same Kentucky cloth, which is also funny because Mariah, my fiance, is actually from very close to where Childers is from.
Yeah.
I found out this morning that Childers went to high school in Paintsville. It's right down the street from where Mariah grew up in Floyd County.
That whole area, man. Chris Stapleton is from there.
Yep.
Loretta Lynn is from there. Crystal Gale is from there.
There's something in that water.
It's magic.
There's something
man.
in the water
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And then that, I think, again, on this, how he and Sturgill got connected, a lot of that had to do with Miles Miller bringing him to the live performance.
Yeah.
When Sturgill saw Tyler, same thing. I don't know what it is. There's just some artists that once you see them live and connect with them live, there's something different about how you connect with the music.
Totally.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I also think with Childers in particular, and I think we've talked about this before, Tyler, that like there's something in his facial expression when he performs that it looks like he's seeing shit.
It's something in his eyes specifically.
It's like he's singing to a different crowd than who he's actually singing to.
Yeah.
And I think it takes you to this like netherworldly like feeling of like, man, he is in it. And you don't see that in everybody. You know, you don't see that type of performative experience.
Yeah. It's like the difference, like playing the songs and like feeling the music, because that's very much the experience that I think we had seen him live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, another thing we need to note is that the three of us have heroically abstained
Oh my God.
from listening to this record.
It's been really fucking difficult, guys. Like I've had such a difficult time.
Struggle is real.
Musical abstinence.
Mariah came home. Mariah texted me while she was at work, and she said, she like pointed out a song. So I recently wrote a song with Mariah called "Forever in a Day," and she texted me and said, "Did you know that Tyler Childers has a song that he says 'Forever in a Day' on it?" And I was like, "Is it on the new album?" She's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Don't tell me, don't tell me this.
Yeah.
What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Did you listen to the whole album?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Damn it."
I had to keep it when I was doing that deep dive again yesterday in preparation for this. The autoplay would kick on.
Oh, yeah,
and I had to be like, whoop, pause,
Yeah, yeah.
pause,
Yeah,
pause.
every time that video that came out for Eating Big Time, where he's sliding across the car, I'm like, move on, move on.
Yeah, we should watch that as soon as we.
So
finish
yeah,
this.
but it was a pact that we made when we first agreed that we were going to do this episode with Tyler, that we were like, we should just hold off on listening to it because we think that it's going to make for an even more special episode.
Yeah.
We're very excited to dig in. So I think without further ado, let's fucking do it.
Let's get it.
Yeah, let's go. We'll be back. Like always, go listen to Snipe Hunter. Maybe pause this episode, come back when you're done. We'll see you in a bit. That's fucking great. That was a great intro. Yeah.
You're
Well done, guys.
You're natural, bud.
You are. You are.
Thanks. It's because of the present company.
Hey guys, so over the last couple years, my hat collection has grown, but these wide brim hats I got from Two Roads Hat Company have become my absolute favorites. I am very excited to let you know that I now have a partnership going with Two Roads Hat Company. Head on over to tworoadshatco.com, pick out your favorite hat. They have so many to choose from. They have felt, straw, wide brim, short brim. They have trucker hats. They have beanies, you name it. Be sure to use the discount code Foley15 and get yourself 15% off of your order. Again, that's tworoadshatco.com. Foley15 in all caps will get you 15% off your order at Two Roads Hat Company.
And I feel like this summer was the first time, maybe in my career, I'm going into year 16, first time that I really used the summer like as effectively as I wish I would have.
Yep.
In terms of like getting up and writing and editing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's with like really challenging family stuff happening in between.
Sure.
So
Yeah, man, you've been doing great though.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're kicking ass.
Well, this isn't about me though. This is about Tyler fucking
My
Childers.
goodness, guys.
Shoot, buddy.
Boy, we got some shit to talk about.
Oh my goodness.
I'm it's gonna take some time to fully reel in my thoughts on this album.
Well, here's what I'd like to do, because so we were raving about this record the whole time, and one time we were listening, and we were all three of us had like our mouths
fucking
on the floor,
amped.
jaws
We
on
were
the floor.
just like, what?
But one of the things that I proposed in the group chat leading up to this was maybe we talk a little bit about your favorite Tyler Childers record. This one you can't say is your favorite. You can say it after the fact.
Yeah. Give a few more listens.
But going into this, what was your favorite Tyler Childers record and why?
Tyler, why don't you lead us off?
I mean, no wrong answers, of course, but if we're going for the one I keep revisiting the most, Country Squire, for sure, for me.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be yours. Yeah.
That was the first new release as like a full Tyler Childers fan for me. Once I got into him, Purgatory was already out, all the Red Barn stuff and, Bottles and Bites. Like that was already there to sink my teeth into. This was the first one where it was like, I think I crashed at Omid and Alina's apartment or something and woke up real early because I had work the next day, but it came out at midnight that night. So like whatever, 4 a.m. on the way home when I was driving home, it was like just listening to that record top to bottom. And I remember us, Jordan and I, like, I think when the first single came out from that record, like that morning, like before we were
House Fire,
before we went to work that morning, we were like sharing that,
watched
talking
about
it.
The live feed on YouTube.
Yep. And just being like, whoa.
Yeah, it was fucking mind-blowing.
And it was kind of the thing, like that's exactly what I was kind of hoping for. Not, no expectations in terms of like it better be X, Y, or Z for me, but it was more like, oh, this is just really, that first single resonated with me. Like, this is an awesome direction. It feels familiar, but it feels like the production is like just bigger and just loved House Fire. Still love House Fire. So yeah, I found myself coming back to that record the most. Although I will say, of course, that In Your Love off of Rustin' in the Rain, love that record as well. That song, of course, we walked out to like for Liv and I's wedding, like a very big important
super
part.
Sweet,
beautiful song. It was kind of between that and All Yourn for a bit.
Oh wow!
So like, those two songs are beautiful. But yeah, Country Squire is probably my biggest like go-to revisit of a record.
Yeah, it's definitely a great record. I mean, it was really difficult for me to choose, but I did go with Purgatory. Yeah. Not just because I had a feeling you were going to pick Country Squire. I do think there is a sentimental value to Country Squire, also because we went and saw him then, and like we saw the show, and there was a sense of like I think it was the most connected to Childers music that I was at the time. But I do have to go with Purgatory because pretty much the same reason that you went with Country Squire, that like it's the first full album that you were into. My buddy Jared, who you both know, was the one who introduced me first to Sturgill Simpson, and then he introduced me to Tyler Childers. He sent me the video of Nose on the Grindstone during the Hour Vinyl sessions, and he was like, "You need to listen to this guy and learn this song to play it." And I was just like blown away by that song. That song alone, I just couldn't get over it. So and it didn't even end up on Purgatory, but Purgatory came out. It was just like from start to finish, it was new, it was vibrant, it had some attitude to it, it had a new edge to it, had a good feel, and there was just every song I got down with from the jump. Nothing, it didn't miss for me. Yeah. And it's not to say that it's better than the other records, it's just a personal favorite. Like when you go down the line and you look at all the different records that these guys have put out over the years, and they're all they vary. They're different from each other. None of them are really the same. I would say the closest to would be Purgatory and Country Squire. They have a similar vibe to it,
right?
To both of them. But yeah, I think there's just a sentimental value to being introduced to one of your favorite artists. That first album always sticks with you. So that's how it is for me. Purgatory all the way.
Mine's Long Violent History, and
that's wild. That's it's so cool.
Yeah, and I listened to it again. Like I said, I went through his whole catalog yesterday, and then I listened to the Barn sessions this morning, and that was kind of the end of that dive. And I think there's two main reasons why Long Violent History is my favorite. One is that it was my introduction to Tyler Childers, the person, and what an incredible person he is, and how fascinating he is as an individual. I compared him to Willie and Waylon in the intro, more so because of his I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. That record has one song with lyrics on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is a strength of his is telling stories, right? Specifically through lyrics. But he's able to emotionally tell stories on that record and then punch you in the fucking nose at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was some really cool stuff that came out at that time. And for folks who don't know, basically that record came out as like in support of the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020. And, you know, that's been an incredibly important focus of my life is anti-bigotry, having grown up the way that I did and having really felt like disillusioned with the way that I was raised in terms of race and gender and sexuality, and to then in my adult life dedicate myself to try to be anti-bigotry. Someone like him who's from a similar part of the world that I'm from, who has a similar accent to what I had before I lost mine, someone coming from that place and still living in that place, right? He still physically lives there.
Right.
Yeah.
Walks the walk, you know? For him to come out so strongly in support of the rights of Black Americans, especially at that time. And I think the other thing that's just quickly important to me about that record is there's so much about it that reminds me of my childhood and the bluegrass music that I grew up with and the things that my father introduced me to and the roots in Kentucky there. Because I'm not from exactly where he's from. It's a few hours to the west is where my mother's family is from, and then other side of the state is where I was born. But that music and the sounds on Long Violent History are very, very rooted in the things that I grew up on. So till this one came along,
Yeah, and
that was my favorite.
That's really, really interesting to point out the connection between Long Violent History in this album. One thing I'll point out about Long Violent History are the players on it.
Yeah.
It's got heavy hitters. Dom Flemons is on there. Andrew Marlin from Watch House, formerly Mandolin Orange. We've talked about our feelings on them. Band name.
Yeah, we don't have to rehash that.
But I mean, there are some heavy players, and the fact that Childers learned fiddle, like, just to do that record. I mean, like, that was like he was inspired to like learn something new, and it's very inspiring for any artist to just try something different and say, you know, have such a big thing to say without saying a lot.
Well, and he also got sober around that time, and I think he got sober before that record, and
6 months. I watched the video recently, the one where he talks about it. And,
perfect. Yeah. Okay. And so we don't have to dwell on this, but it is something we were talking about earlier off mic, which is there's this segment of Tyler Childers fandom and Americana fandom that thinks he was quote unquote better before he got sober.
Yeah.
And I think that's just I'm gonna call those like dumb fuck douchebag attitudes.
Well, they're everywhere.
Fairweather fans.
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
Evan
like,
Felker.
Isbell. People complain about Isbell.
BJ.
Yeah. I mean,
I just think that's ridiculous. I mean, it's fine if you appreciate those early records.
You can prefer that music all day long.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
but to say, you know,
but it's
he's
not
better.
because
It
they're
was better.
drinking.
Yeah.
You know?
Because for me, the sober records are hit harder.
Oh,
Yeah.
And even having gone back and done that deep dive, because it's amazing to me how confident he is now and how much he takes risks, and that's what Long Violent History History really connected with me at first, because he took so many risks, and then he just kept taking risks in his whole catalog.
Kept
and then
it
this
going.
thing, Snipe Hunter, we just listened to.
Yeah.
Talk about some risks.
Well, and real quick before we dive in, because we got a lot. I know all three of us we're just chomping at the bit to talk about it. But really quickly, because Jason, we talked about the fact that like you came into Childers' catalog at a later time, doing the deep dive yesterday that you were talking about. What is your quick takeaway? Like, if you could summarize your takeaway from his older stuff now that you've like done the research, sat and listened to it, has that changed at all for you? Yeah,
I'm glad you asked that question, because I think that my appreciation for him deepened yesterday. Going back and listening to all those records intentionally and in a row. But one of the things that is remarkable to me, with maybe the exception of Purgatory, because Purgatory is sort of that like generational like masterpiece kind of record.
Yeah,
you know,
shift in the scene.
Yeah. And its influence cannot be overstated, right? Like you mentioned earlier, how many young artists are now, which is crazy to think that he's like, what, 37 years old?
He's 34.
That's crazy.
Wild,
That's crazy. That like he's been at it so long that now he's influencing a whole nother generation of songwriters. But the influence of that record, again, can't be overstated. So with that exception, when you listen to it start to like from the very first record, from Bottles and Bibles all the way through, you hear the progression. You hear this guy getting better.
Him getting better. And that's where Snipe Hunter is just like fucking like, oh my God. Like,
I want to go back and do this now too, because it's you kind of, I will consume it as it comes out and revisit some things over time that I enjoy or have Spotify feed me, and songs from past records that I haven't listened to in a while. But it's one thing to kind of get the snapshots of like, this is where he's at now, and then you wait a couple years for the next record and this is what it is now. But to put it in context of like the arc of like starting with the first record and just listening through and in real time listening to the songwriting become what it is. And I wouldn't say get worse or better, of course. It's just evolving and changing different directions. And you hear it in production with the later records, and you hear it in the songwriting and just what he's writing about,
Yeah, there's an intent too. I think his last handful of records, Rustin' in the Rain, bunch of love songs mostly.
Yeah.
And then Can I Take My House to Heaven? Like that was just it was almost
cool
experimental.
Experiment.
It's experimental.
Cool idea.
Like, let's take these songs and then do them 3 different ways.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't connect as much with that record. I loved and appreciated so much what he was doing with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't necessarily the records for me, but I thought that was such a cool idea regardless. Like
I think going into Snipe Hunter that this is his way of being all encompassing.
Yeah.
Hey, let me take everything I've learned as a singer-songwriter, as an artist, especially from Appalachia, and think traditionally, think modernly, let me take all these elements that I've learned over the years and fuse that shit together and blow your fucking minds off,
Well, and add some things too, right? Like that's the other thing about it is you're exactly right. And then he adds these other layers to it, both from a storytelling standpoint. Yeah. Some of the shit is like, I think I used the word unhinged. Like some of it is like off the rails.
Is a good way to put it.
When that song Down Under, and a lot of people have spoken about this online, but then listening to him sing about koalas with chlamydia.
I wrote that in my notes. I'm like, a verse about koalas? Love it. Yeah. And done so well.
Really well. And I don't know who else
could do it.
Could pull that off. It would sound silly, or I wouldn't be able to take it seriously. But with that, you laugh for a second, and then he's like, I ain't done yet, you know, and then he gives you so much to chew on in the rest of the song.
He can pull you into straight up goofy territory and also heart-wrenchingly, heartbreaking, depressing territory. And visiting either side doesn't like negate the other. Like you can enjoy both because he does it so well in both, styles, or, the spectrum of styles and context, subject matter and all these things, where it's not like this is his silly stuff and this is his really serious stuff. It's like, the ride is good regardless.
It is a really good ride. I think the songs flow. We have a habit of talking about the track order, and I just think this was a masterclass. Yeah. Like this was like from the get-go of pulling you in. The first words I wrote in my notes were, holy shit, this is raw.
Yeah.
Eating Big Time was like, we're getting back to our roots. We're getting back, like, I'm hitting you in the face with this. Like, immediate song of the week for Life's Greatest Hits for me, just because I know that I'm going to want to listen to it over and over again. There's also like the long going hashtag of Eating Big Time that like anytime
it's the lore.
There's such a lore to it. And it was like, if you're going to write a song called Eating Big Time, you better bring it.
You get one chance to use it as a title.
You do. And he nailed that. So just going off from the very get-go, that really got me.
Yeah.
And I'll point out the next one, Cutting Teeth, talking about being in your 20s as a singer-songwriter or in a country band, singing at dive bars, and there's just such a as a performer, there is such a relation to that. It's so reminiscent. It's like you almost smell it. You almost know that you're there. You feel it. You get it.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the two that stood off the board to me right from the. I mean, obviously from the get-go, they're the first songs on, but yeah. I mean, it all encompassing. There's so much to unpack here. We would have to do like 4 different parts to really dive in, but that's just going off the jump there.
Yeah, to lead off a record with 2 songs that strong and that complex too. That's the other thing that we kept hearing, I feel like, is with the exception of maybe Nose on the Grindstone, other than that, there's instrumentation all over this thing.
Yeah.
And
unexpected.
Yeah, unexpected instrumentation. There was several moments where one of us would make a comment about like some choice that was made, and to come out of the gate the way they did, like with those first 2 songs.
Yeah.
And I think I was a little surprised too, because one of the things that, Rick Rubin produced this record, and one of the things that he's known for in his production is kind of almost sort of like Dave Cobb-esque, getting out of the way of the
Hands
artist.
off the wheel.
Yeah.
Let's see where you take it.
Yeah.
I'll guide it from a distance.
Yeah. And so I guess I expected almost a more sparse record. Right? And maybe that's me projecting like the Johnny Cash American recordings
Sure.
onto it in some way, or even the Avett Brothers, I Am Loving You.
Yeah.
Like, I think when he gets a hold of a quote unquote Americana artist, a lot of times it gets stripped down. And I wouldn't say that this is stripped down.
No. There are moments of it to where it's more of an effect to like, this is a stripped down moment.
Yeah.
As opposed to an entire record of that kind of vibe with, pockets of bigger production or bigger arrangements. But no, it's sometimes beautifully busy. And there are moments where like we would look at like, what is that? Like the fact that
how
he
many
lives.
How many times do we look at the different instrumentation where we're like, what is that?
Yeah.
What's that instrument?
In a genre that is quote unquote could be so straightforward in arrangement, instrumentation, and expectation of what song structure, instrument arrangement could be. The fact that during this record, multiple times we were like, what is that?
Yeah.
What's making that sound? I love that. Yeah.
What are our thoughts on the mixing? Because I'll tell you, I think there was some, I didn't go into the weeds of like, what's everybody saying about this, but I did read some thoughts from artists, in particular artists, saying, love the sound. I was surprised about the mixing. I think we're going into this age of like raw sound. We talked earlier this year about Early James.
Yeah.
And like there's this like rawness to the production of the music.
Yeah.
That's what I was taking from it. But I wanted to kind of bring that to the table of like taking an album and kind of dissecting the sound of it. What were we thinking on that?
Yeah, I didn't personally this is again the first listen down ever, so taking a lot in all at the same time. I didn't personally have I didn't personally pick up on a production style across the record. Like this is a Rick Rubin-esque sounding record, or this is this type of production style record, because it kind of to me varied song to song. And there are moments, which track was it, where Snipe Hunt. Yeah, it sounds like it was performed in a 1950s juke hall and also mixed the same way. It's mixed to my ears intentionally, to where it's like there's not much differentiation between instrumentation and sounds. It all kind of sounds like it's coming through the same kind of shitty PA, but like intentionally. Like that was the idea behind the vibe of this song.
And I agree, and I think that's what makes it
work. Super rad.
It works and it's different. We like you said, it's not. Music doesn't need to be polished. It can be literally whatever you want it to fucking be. Like you were talking about, Rick Rubin kind of like taking hands off the wheel and letting Childers and the Boys run. It's like you kind of need to be able to do that as an artist, especially these are straight, these are from Childers' notes. Right. He wrote these songs. His handprint, his fingerprints are all over every track.
Yeah.
I can't get over the songwriting. That's a whole other thing to unpack. Like, just like you said, there's a special sound to each and every song, and yet it is all unified at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, can I push you on that a little bit and to say more, because I agree with you 100% on all of that stuff. We were remarking about this insert that is like a 2-page, almost looks like a script, and on the cover, all it says is Snipe Hunter, written by Tyler Childers.
Mm-hmm. We spent most of the time passing this around while we were listening to it, because it has so much instrumentation on it per song.
Yeah, and some surprising instruments too.
So what was it about the songwriting? I'm interested from each of you, really. What was it about the songwriting that stood out to you?
My first takeaway was like, nobody else can do this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's not another artist that I can think of that can have such a signature sound that also it's coming from a place that is memorable. Like when we're talking about our favorite records, thinking back to like our favorite Tyler Childers albums, you almost hear every single album in this song, in these songs. And that's something that really stands out to me as a songwriter, because we're always trying to write new stuff. We're always trying to write good music and music that we enjoy, but also in the hopes that everybody else is going to enjoy it. I feel like Childers just took it and was like, this is what I want. I want this. I'm going to make this music. If people like it, awesome. If they don't, oh well.
Yeah.
That's what I took away from it. The structure is just so, in the best way possible, all over the place.
Yeah.
Like when we were listening to Eatin' Big Time, like you don't hear the hook for a bit.
Yeah.
You know, but you know that this is a fucking banger of a song. Like you know that this song is hitting. And you're like, I just need to listen to this again because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, yeah,
so
absolutely. And my first note under EBT, kind of as a whole, like after the first track, was same but different. And that's such a very basic way to say, like, this sounds like Tyler Childers, but not like the last record or previous records. There's enough of his DNA in this, songwriting wise, vocal performance. I said it sounds like he's having fun singing this song, and like you can hear what he gives off in his live show in this record all over the place too. Yeah, songwriting wise and production wise, like same but different, very much of his DNA all over this record. And especially with the production again, and some of his, like, you know, especially again, going back to the first track, I wrote down like his voice is like gravelly, hinging on reckless, but like it doesn't cross the line. It's just like, which is very much Tyler. Again, even going back to live shows, listening to, you know, his performances, and yeah, the songwriting can take you through some just goofy moments and some emotionally deep moments, and he does it all well. None of it seems gimmicky or that he's trying to do one or the other.
Yeah, and he has a way of utilizing his. This is going to be so weird, but utilizing his breathing. Yeah. Have you noticed in the way the inflection of some of his lines, you can tell when he's starting to run out of breath, and when he does, the note dips.
Yeah.
At the end, and you can see it in his live performance, his voice, his face, kind of like he's utilizing everything he has. Mm-hmm. He's giving it everything he has, but also he doesn't need to. Like he doesn't need to go so hard to impress you. You know, he's a singer-songwriter. Again, Appalachia has that kind of raw, traditional folk sound to it. And for him to be all over it the way he is lyrically, it goes a long way. Yeah. There.
Well, the lyric thing is something that I wanted to bring up, thinking about the songwriting. Because we've come to know him as, and there are moments of what I'm about to illustrate on this record too, but we've come to know him as sort of the voice of a place, right?
Right.
In so many ways. When he sings White House Road, you put yourself there so clearly. Even Feathered Indians, that you put yourself there, right? Like, and I could probably do that with most of his songs, especially the early stuff, where he paints a picture of place and he is a voice for a whole class of people and a whole culture. On this record, there are moments that he really does that. As I was listening, I was thinking like Poachers, for example, is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Watch Out is a great example of that. Snipe Hunt is a great example of that.
Dirty Hot Trill.
Dirty Hot Trill is a great example of that. But then he's going to give you Down Under.
Right.
Right? Yeah. He's going to give you Biting List.
Tirtha Yatra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tirtha Yatra. And what was remarkable to me was his ability to kind of weave into that thing that we've gotten used to from him,
Right.
where he's going to be able to tell those stories from that specific place, and they're going to be transferable to other places, and then also hit you with something out of left field, like Down Under or like Tirtha Yatra and so forth. And I thought that was amazing how he pulled that off, and I'm interested in if y'all have any thoughts on how that was even possible.
I mean, the ability to write songs still to this day with this record that you can so relate to or translate into your own world or fit over, your own kind of life, and it still connect or make sense or speak to it. And also, give you the songs like we had just mentioned that are almost uniquely his own experience, but not polarizing towards like, I can never relate to this thing, because it's more about like the narrative and his views on it that still make it relatable, but in a situation or context that you don't have any kind of affiliation with or have any kind of prior experience with. I think it's a testament to great songwriting.
So Marissa Armas wrote this wonderful article in GQ, and Marissa is a journalist who writes about music and specifically writes about country music a lot, who has been a guest on my show, The Marinade with Jason Earle. I really like the way that Marissa looks at not just the music itself, but also the way that she looks at the industry and the intersection of those things. And so it was really cool to read an article about Tyler because he comes across as exactly who you think he is. No one seems to have a bad word to say about the guy. And he does all these amazing things that oftentimes go overlooked or unreported. Like recently there was that story, and I did wonder about this, like whether a publicist, planted this or whatever, but about how he like has quietly been donating money to the Blackfoot Indian Nation. Just like, and then the whole story about him not playing feathered Indians because of the word Indian and his interactions with a historian and just someone willing to examine their past beliefs and thoughts and actions and then adjust accordingly. And then also navigating that space. And there are a few folks who do this really well. I think of Margot Price, for example. I think of Jason Isbell, of folks who navigate this space that is largely white, largely male-dominated, largely heterosexual-dominated, and uplift voices that are not that stereotype, right? Tyler does that in spades, and I just really appreciate how much that article illuminated the guy. He seems like such a fantastic guy. And the second thing that came out, which is something that we talked about while we were listening to the record, is there are these elements on there because in addition to Rick Rubin's production, Nick Sanborn from Sylvan Esso did quite a bit of work. And apparently Tyler was like, sent him mixes and was like, hey, like make this weird. And then he got them back and was like, no, go weirder. Go weirder. Yeah. And there are so many moments on this record that are weird as fucking all hell, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, totally agree. Going back to Snipe Hunt, when it ended, I said this is Beach Boys on meth. And you mentioned, at a Jew call, like there's such a vibe to that song. Dirty Hot Trill at the end. I mean, it was literally like we got remnants of Life in the Fast Lane. Like right off the bat that we were like, oh shit!
All three of us immediately.
You can see the influence, but it just goes wild and like we said earlier, you can tell that they were having fun. Yeah, that they're enjoying. Like I think that's when they which song was it that they're doing all the it's Biting List. Where they're like, it's unhinged and they're all yelling and there's a dog biting in the back and growling and all that shit. When we did Ruins in the studio, Thomas wanted that for that song. He was like, he like let us go. He like told Ryan to record. There's coughing. Like I'm literally coughing on the track. And it just shows the vibe of the moment. I love when records do that. I love when a record goes into the studio, like you hear what they're doing. There's another song where they're laughing at the beginning. Yeah. I think it was, which one was that?
Like the last quarter of the record.
Tomcat and a Dandy.
Yeah, it's later.
Yeah, it was definitely later in the album. Was it Poachers?
I don't remember.
I see. This is the downfall of only listening to this album once, is because now we're like, oh. But my point is they bring you into the studio and sing and like you can feel like you're there. And that goes hand in hand with what you're talking about with Childers as a person. I think we relate to him because of his character.
Yeah.
Because of who he conveys himself to be, as a good person who, you know, comes from a religious background and questions it and challenges himself on things and really brings out himself authentically of who he is in his own music.
I might just be like lost in the sauce right now, but I feel like when we talked about D'Angelo on our very first episode of this podcast, or second episode, sorry, of this podcast, I talked about how, like, for me, there are these generational kind of talents. Mm-hmm. There's D'Angelo, like, in the world that we live in right now. Mm-hmm. Well, let's even just take our lifetimes, right? There's the Princes of the world, who's kind of on a different level. D'Angelo. In my mind, Kendrick Lamar is there. Sure. In my mind, Jason Isbell is there. Man, halfway through this record, I was like, I think I gotta give a nod to Tyler as give him his
fucking flowers.
Being on that kind of, these people don't come along very often, and we need to sit back and be grateful that we're on the planet at the same time as them, and that we have these records, and he continues to make more music. And that came up to me about halfway through, where I was like, I mean, I hate to speak in hyperbole, but I don't think it's hyperbole. I think that's what we're living with.
Yeah.
And I will say real quick that it gets to me whenever there are I understand that fans of artists take away, like, they want to hear what they want to hear. I want to hear this again. You know, there was talk of Onita. When Onita came out, I was like, well, it doesn't sound like how I wanted it to sound. It doesn't sound like the SoundCloud track. It's like, give it a chance. You know, like give this music a free thought. Yeah. You know, give it some room to breathe, because it needs that. You know, and there are so many fans of multiple artists. This happens with a lot of different acts. But people go into it being like, because like I've been on a Tyler Childers fan club group on Facebook for years. I think you're on that same one, where people are just like, I just want to hear this thing. And it's like, well, if you want to hear that, if you want to hear White House Road, the sequel, just go listen to White House Road.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm just grateful that I'm getting more music from one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, I want my favorite artists to challenge themselves and to challenge us. And it may not always hit me or like resonate in the way that like I would want the record to sound like, but I'm always grateful for it. Like I love the fact that, you know, there's Tyler and whomever, they're still putting out new music for us to listen to and to hear where they're at in their journey and their songwriting and their production, how they're pushing themselves, how they're pushing their records. Yeah, I love it. So it's I mean, the old stuff, the earlier stuff is amazing and will remain amazing, but I don't want, you know, Purgatory Part 2.
Right.
I'd rather be challenged with a record that I may not revisit as much, but know that like this is probably fulfilling to Tyler. This must be fulfilling for him. Or, you know, I want that for the artist as opposed to what personally I would prefer it. You know, it'd be So,
and I agree with all of that, and I think this is the ultimate Childers album, because I think it, like I said earlier, I think it is all encompassing with everything that he's done already, and then some, taking it into a new direction, establishing where he's going, where he's been, and where he's been, where he's going for the future. But like listening to this album, I couldn't help but think like, we're on a new playing field. This is something like taking everything that he's done and exposing more.
Yeah, I wonder, like, it's too early to even to go too deep into this question, but it's something that I thought about toward the end, which is like, where does he go from here?
Yeah.
You know, like, because I think about, we've talked about Sturgill Simpson a fair amount. You know, he who produced co-produced Purgatory. And I think one of the things that my favorite things about Sturgill is he is the perfect example of what you were just talking about, how you want your favorite artist to evolve.
Yeah.
Perfect example of that. He's been all over the place. All of his records are 10s. They all slap. They're all incredible, but they're all over the place.
Yeah. None of them are part 2s to the predecessor.
No. And I'm grateful for that. But it is really interesting. This raises the bar for a genre.
Yep.
This raises the bar for an artist.
Yeah.
I didn't think anybody was going to rival Jason Isbell's Foxes in the Snow for me. And I still have to process all of this in terms of my favorite records from this year. And it's not a competition.
No.
But at the same time, this is the first record I've heard all year that I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This might be one that I spend more time with.
Yeah.
I cannot agree with you more. This album was everything that I needed it to be.
Yeah.
I've looked forward to an album that was going to slap this hard. Going back, like you said, Foxes in the Snow was beautiful.
Yeah.
Love every minute of it. One of my favorite records of the year. It's been my number one. But like hearing this and I feel like my mind has been opened up and I need to dive in more. I need to spend more time with these songs because I loved it so much, because I enjoyed it so much. Not because I need to like understand it better. It's because I fucking had fun. I enjoyed this. And
It was a really fun listen.
Yeah, there was a moment, I think I said it while we were listening, where it's like, am I enjoying it because this is the first listen, or am I enjoying it because it's that damn good? Which one is more important? Which one is more prominent in this moment? And it's definitely the fucking album. Yeah. I mean, it's that good.
My first note is smiles immediately.
Yeah, we were all fucking pumped.
Yeah.
The minute that needle dropped, we were like, oh man, this is exactly what we wanted. And it goes hard and it softens. And again, with that flow, you're even looking at songs, again, Onita and Nose on the Grindstone. Nose on the Grindstone being the first Childers song I ever heard.
Yeah.
And for it to be added into this so nicely.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just there just because it's a song he didn't do it, like, it's with purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't do it just to do it. He didn't record the song just because he knows that it would be successful. Like, it has purpose in this album.
And I wrote, and I don't know if you guys want to dive into this for just a minute or two, but Nose on the Grindstone, because we have Onita as well as like a kind of an official release for the first time. But with Nose on the Grindstone, because it is such a massively popular song amongst the fan base, we've got the Our Vinyl session, which even after this record is still maybe most people's go-to Nose on the Grindstone, which understandably they've been marinating on it for years, and they loved that rendition of it, and they didn't need this new one. But I did write down, let's talk about it for Nose on the Grindstone. Was this needed? Is it better? Why now? Why put it on this record? What did you think of this rendition of it?
I'll take that first.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I think there was a moment where I was watching the live, because they did the live feed again on YouTube, and I sent it to you. I sent it to you again. It was like nostalgia. But I was in the moment, I was like, what are they going to do? Is it going to be so different? It's going to be full band. It's going to be ruckus. It's going to be all this. And it wasn't. Yeah. It was, we even looked at the instrumentation on this one. It was like Tyler on acoustic, and then we had organ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, it doesn't need much more. Right. The song is simple and heavy. Yeah. And from the jump, it doesn't need much more than that. And I agree with you that the track on Our Vinyl, it's one of those ones where it's like, that's just always going to stay with me, because I'm never going to forget the first time that I listened to it. Right. But there is it's so accentuated with this track, with the organ alone adds so much to it. When it comes in, the moment it comes in is so unique. And we were talking about this during the record, because Jason, you haven't seen this music video. You need to, but you haven't. No.
You guys are over there giving me a hard time.
We were giving him shit
about reading the GQ article, but
yeah, we couldn't help ourselves. But in the video, while the bonfire is going and it's just focusing on Childers, the moment that the keys comes in is when the shot shows the keys player, and it's like that was so unique because you're so zoned in to Tyler's performance as a solo artist for even just one instrument, one other player from the Food Stamps to come in and do that. I think it really drives it home more. So it's like less is more with that would be my answer. But again, like I was so excited. I think there's a lot of talk too about Jersey Giant and how like why isn't that on here?
Sure
Why isn't
plenty of bummed people
why
about
isn't
that.
Follow You to Virgie on here?
Yeah.
And why and I get it, but like again, that goes back to my whole thing about lip service and fandom. We need to appreciate the artists for what they're wanting to do. And I did read I will admit, I did read a little snippet where he actually, I'll admit, I saw a little, it was on Instagram or something like that. And it was just a quote where he talks about this, right? Doesn't he mention it in the article about Jersey Giant where he's like, everybody's expecting me to do all the songs that I've written before that I've never tracked. And he's like, well, then I found that I have more songs that can really bring into this whole project.
Yeah, one of the things that he talks about is like, and I'm sure you can relate to this as a songwriter, is like, there are some songs that you write, and for the moment, that's the level you're at, and that's what you need, and that's what you're needing to express at the time. I made a note in the margin, right at Nose on the Grindstone, because I love this version of it. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. But I made this note that said, if I have to be nitpicky, if I have to have a criticism, it's that the record lost a little bit of steam at that moment.
Sure.
And then when we got to the end, I was like, nah, that's pretty cool. I'm down with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I feel about that particular song being included on the record and in that sequence is, I think, in the moment. Because the other thing that I thought was like, I really liked Watch Out, which I, in the moment, described as feeling like a Shooter Jennings song.
Totally.
Off of Electric Rodeo, which is one of my favorite records of the last 30 years or whatever. So fucking here for it. But something about it didn't feel right at first. And then once we got to the end, I was like, no, everything is in its right place.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't just thrown in. It felt good. And I, because I can probably say with the utmost confidence, he's not scraping the bottom of the barrel for songs to put on a record to hit a track list goal.
Right.
So it's like he put it on there on purpose and with intention, and the idea of re-recording it officially, and to make it different enough with the organ, and then having like the re-chorus, whatever, at the end, the chorus comes back one more time after you think the song's over. Like it's different enough, which I really did enjoy. Upon very, very first listen, watching the live kind of debut of that music video, my initial thought was, ooh, I could have used more. Like I almost wanted more out of this recording. But then I was like, nope. The second listen, I was like, this song it would have almost been a disservice to make it a full band production of the song, because it does so well on its own with just him and an acoustic guitar, but then throw in the organ at the end, that like different enough and cool and still exactly what that, still servicing the song.
And I again, going back to Jersey Giant, I don't think it would have fit.
Sure.
It would have stuck out like a sore thumb. Yeah. Unless they produced it in a way that relates to, again, to the whole album. But I think this was a very unified, wholesome album from start to finish. Everything fits. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a placement, a reason for being there. There's a maturation here that I think we just keep talking about Childers. There's not that he was, immature or kiddish in a way with other music or other things that he's done, but there's just a level up that he has conveyed on this record.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of the things that I didn't connect with about the early records until I gave him a second and third chance, was that, again, not immature songwriting. That's not what we mean here when we say this. I think just like I was at a different stage in life when those records were released than he was, right? So he was really, really young when those first couple records came out. And so for me, they weren't hitting in the way because I was at a very different stage in life. Now I can look back on them, especially with the more quote unquote mature songwriting that he's doing. I'm just gonna say it, the more mature songwriting that he's doing.
Sure.
I can look back on those records now and appreciate them through a different lens.
Totally.
Because now I see the whole artist.
Yeah.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to go back and revisit it when you want that kind of thing, and then that's, I guess, another reason why I love artists changing and evolving and pushing themselves and pushing their songwriting is because when I want this version of the artist, I can visit these records. When I want this version and I don't want it to all be synonymous or the same thing or just run on of a catalog. And I mean, kind of a bit of a, to deviate a little bit from this line of thinking, but I was excited to hear Rick Rubin was going to produce this record because one, of course, his just vast catalog of just iconic records he's been a part of and who he is and what it means.
It's such a list. It's such an iconic list to add Tyler
eclectic list too, to that like
Jay-Z,
right?
Is on the same.
Slipknot. So for the 0.5% of the listening audience that may have some overlap with me in loving Slipknot and Childers, I love the fact that everyone talks about we want to say like Childers that people want like another Purgatory or something, and that conversation always happens with Slipknot. Everyone wants another Iowa, which is their second record, and Rick Rubin came in to produce their third record, and it was so different than Iowa. And Volume 3, Slipknot's third record, is like probably my favorite Slipknot record. So I was excited to hear how is he going to make this a different enough Childers record to not have it fall in line and be a part two of something else that they know is successful and works or whatever. So I was just kind of excited to hear like, well, he did this with another favorite band of mine and made a record that was very different than what everybody else wanted. And so I was excited to hear, and I'm getting out of it what I was hoping, which is it's different.
And that's what being a fan is all about.
Right.
Is being able to champion the artists in their endeavors and their projects and what they're going for and being along for the ride of the challenge, to take it on with them and try to come out with something new and inviting and real in a way that they didn't hit before. It's so interesting because again, this is a spinning wheel that we see a lot with artists. I mean, you just mentioned Slipknot. Like, there are so many bands that change their style or change what they're going for, or sometimes it's with intent, sometimes it's with like, well, we're at this part of our lives. I always go back to Mumford and Sons on this, but like we need to do this because this is where we're going.
We're not that band anymore,
right? We're not that like overalls and bolo ties band anymore. We're this like clean cut. We wear leather jackets now, and it's like that's cool, but like, put that in your music. Make live authentic. Be authentic in what you're
walk the walk.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Childers does that here. I think that again, it's him maturing, and he's a dad now. And he's grown up. He's not singing about a country squire anymore. He's not singing about wanting to build a home for his wife. He has it now. There's a level up, and I go back to Cutting Teeth because of that, because there's a reflection on there. I can't help it. I have to say it again. Like, I just need to go back and listen to these songs because there's so much to take away, and I know that there are things that I know that I missed, but there's that factor of going back to what you went through as an artist, and how, he even said in that Long Violent History video, he had been drinking for 11 years as a singer-songwriter. He had been going after it for that long. I've been going at it that long, 11 years. So to even think like, well, Tyler Childers is a 34-year-old man who's at this peak of his career, for him to have said that so long ago, there's just so much to unpack there of where he has come to be now. You can even see it in the artwork. We're looking at the artwork right now. Like, you can see it in his face. Everything that's in there seems so purposeful.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, the physical copy is something that we didn't talk a whole lot about yet, and it's absolutely beautiful. I've got the indie exclusive. The record itself is gorgeous. The It's a trifold. I love a trifold.
Yeah.
Give me more artwork
Yeah,
on a
exactly,
record,
yeah.
right? Like give me more canvas for an
With
art.
photos
for artwork.
from the production. Like, yeah.
Yeah, everything about it. All right, let's kind of wrap this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on the record? And also, I'd like to hear each of our favorite tracks.
Final thought is I just can't wait to listen to it again.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
and that it definitely competes with Foxes in the Snow as my favorite album of the year.
Totally.
That's great.
Yeah.
Glad that was all you. Totally.
Totally.
Tyler, what would you say would be your favorite track as of right now?
Yeah. First listen, down of the record, and second one Jordan said, I'm stoked to listen to it again because it was so fun. Because some records take a little time for me, and sometimes I'm not in the right headspace, or it's not yet, or I'm not quite ready to move forward into this record with this artist. And then I go revisit it, and I love it, and I'm obsessed with them. But this one wasn't. I don't have as many immediate release excited records that I'm just listen down once I cannot wait to go back and keep going through it. So that's definitely the immediate kind of feedback. I honestly thought Bite and List, that hook, the Bite and List was so fun and funny. And the arrangement was sick. So Bite and List stuck out to me immediately. Although I even first listened through, no duds for me, no kind of run on songs or lulls in the track list. Loved all of it, but it was also uniquely its own song. And I can't wait to go sink my teeth further into the rest of the record. But Bite and List, I'm like, what a funny turn of phrase, what a great hook, just
concept,
a great idea,
great concept for a song. Who would have ever thought?
If I had rabies, you'd be on my Bite list, top of my Bite list. Love it.
You know what it took me back to is Payback's a Bitch.
Yeah.
Of if you hate somebody, here's how to write a hate you song or a hatred song.
It's the ultimate fuck you song.
Yeah, ultimate fuck you song. It's that's exactly what he did with that. Yeah.
It's not going to only be a fuck you song. It's going to be a really well-written fuck you song, as a double fuck you.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to reveal who's on your biting list?
Trump.
Yeah. DeSantis.
Yeah. It's more of a novel than a list, I'd say, these days. Yeah, I'll keep it at that.
There's not too many. There's some.
If I could get to both of those guys, I'd be good.
Yeah.
I'm not threatening either of those guys. I want to be clear for anyone listening from the federal government.
Right.
But if a raccoon or rabid, anyway, happens to. So, I mean, eating big time. It just because I'm a big fan of the first song being the welcome mat.
Yeah.
And it's that, and it's also, I always wanted to know what that song would be. As we were talking about earlier, it's eating big time. The phrase kind of came out of nowhere with fans for Childers. That and Arrowheads. I always felt we're all of a sudden. Do you remember the one time when we went to go do a show in St. Augustine and we had nothing to do, and I was like, "You want to go get Arrowhead tattoos?"
Yeah.
Because we were really into Country Squire. I
forgot about that.
There's something about it where it's I always wanted to know what their song would be if they were to come out with one called Eatin' Big Time.
Yeah, and they did it.
But they fucking killed it. I mean, it's a get down song, and then it just goes from it. They have more Bite and List, and it was they have some really heavy hitters on this record. But the way that Eatin' Big Time comes off from the get go, it's got me hooked. I cannot wait to go back and watch that music video now.
Yeah, same.
I loved it. Yeah, so that would be mine.
Tyler, earlier you abbreviated Eating Big Time as EBT. Is that a thing in fandom too?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have what's their
a hot dog?
They have a hot dog logo, and it says
EBT.
EBT with a lightning bolt on it or something.
It's kind of reminiscent, if I'm not mistaken, of the Elvis thing. There was an Elvis acronym thing that I'm sure there's people listening that are yelling at their car
it's
this, you idiot! But
it's you're not a fucking Childers fan.
But I believe it's a nod to that. There was some sort of acronym, 3-word acronym, and like a lightning bolt or something that was synonymous with Elvis.
Okay, because like his band's called the Food Stamps.
Yeah.
So like EBT. Okay, that all makes sense. I was wondering if that was intentional or if I was just making connections that aren't there.
Yeah. That's definitely been part of the canon. The Jennings canon.
Yeah.
That one's big on my list. I'm gonna go with Poachers just because I think it is the perfect example on this record of him doing the thing that the people who are upset that he got sober and took risks. That song has that thing for you if you're still missing that, but then it also has all of the new interesting stuff.
Totally.
So I'm gonna go with Poachers. It was one that jumped out to me from the beginning. There's a line.
Yeah, you
there.
said that. You actually said it was your favorite song on the record as soon as it ended.
Yeah, I think if I got this lyric wrong, fine. But I'm gonna, for the moment, just enjoy it this way. I like my drugs methy.
What? I missed that.
Yeah, I might have misinterpreted it. I might have misheard it, but pretty sure that's what the dude said.
I feel like I need to look this up while you're...
So that's gonna be my favorite. Snipe Hunt is really big for me too.
Yeah,
and just like
that was really
such
good.
a great way to kind of start to bring us into the sort of last act of the record too.
Yeah.
And I know I'm kind of cheating here. I'm giving you several, but Dirty Hot Trill is just
so good.
A fucking
I agree with
anthem,
that
man.
statement.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
about
my-
Poachers real quick, and correct. You might disagree with me on this, but it did give off a bit of a Vampire Weekend vibe, which I kind of dug because again, it's like bending. I go back to when Childers talked about Americana being nothing but a thing at Americana Fest Awards. Yeah, where it's I get his point. I stand by that. I understand what he was saying. I can understand the frustration of feeling like I am a country artist, damn it. Like this is but I think this album is taking it to a whole other playing field. And Poachers is a great example of that. Yeah. So is Snipe Hunt.
Yeah, Poachers, it was all for me about the drum groove and the toms. And I wrote down, it gives it a different DNA. This could easily be arranged to be like a typical folk song, but the drum groove made it something different. Right? Yeah. Right.
Well, man, what a fucking album! I'm so glad we didn't listen to it ahead of time. That made this a very special episode.
So glad,
folks. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you to Tyler for joining us. We hope to have you again.
Thanks for having me. Guys. Had a great time.
This is something that Tyler. We know that you love music, and having the very similar taste in music is just an honor to have you. Appreciate you on that.
Yeah, and before we get out of here, just a couple of things to make sure that we note. One, Tyler, where can folks find you on the socials and so forth?
Yeah, I think the most actively posted social platform for me is Instagram. So at Tyler Hood Music, I think I'm still at Tyler Hood Guitar. Thank you. Yeah, because there was another artist in the same genre named Tyler Friggin' Hood.
Yeah, shout out to Tyler. We became friends with him.
Yeah, people were tagging me because mine was Tyler Hood Music as like on his show bills for like his shows. And so I try to make enough of a difference, but that's right, by making it Tyler Hood Guitar. So at Tyler Hood Guitar is kind of where I'm posting the most these days. And it's where you can follow anything I'm doing with Jordan and anything else. So
awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us, man. It was a real honor. I think this is just a great album to be able to have you too. It was like it just landed on our laps.
It's perfect.
Yeah. When he announced this, we were like, "Oh shit, we need to do this." Is where we do the special guest thing. So, folks, thanks again for listening. Next episode, we have picked out an album. Jason,
we have.
What we got?
Also, make sure that you're following Jordan Foley on socials.
Jordan
on
Foley,
all the socials.
Marinade Podcast.
Follow Marinade Podcast.
Jason Earle Music. He's still going to post a video of a song.
I'm still going to post a video of a song.
Just keeping you accountable.
I appreciate that. I need to do it. I have ample guitars. And
it'll be great.
Yep. And here's the reason why this is true. The reason why lately I haven't been playing is that I just adopted my dog Bucket.
Yeah, we got Bucket
over
in
there
the
in the
house.
corner right
He's
now.
just staring at
being
us
adorable.
like, what do you want
What?
from me?
He's the cutest thing in the world. If you
He's
follow
so
me on social
fucking
media,
cute.
you've already seen a bazillion pictures of him, and you're gonna get 2 bazillion more, motherfuckers.
Oh, you do a big
He's doing a big old stretch right now. Yeah.
So cute.
But I have been completely obsessed with him, and he does not like when I play guitar. So I got to get him used to that.
He's more of a bass guy.
Yeah. I could get plenty of gigs, I guess, if I learn how to play bass.
Oh, yeah,
you
you-
know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
I don't know if you'd have
drums.
as much
I show up on
fun.
time and stuff.
Yeah. It's all a coordinating thing. It's really hard.
I'm not a loose cannon, and I show up on time. But so follow all those things for sure. And our next episode, we're very excited to announce, will be focused on SG Goodman's Planting by the Signs.
Hell yeah.
SG was a dream guest for me for the Marinade with Jason Earle podcast, and I got to talk to her. I was in Nashville at a KOA campground, and I recorded via Zoom with her when I went to Bonnaroo on my Grounded Summer tour this year. Amazing conversation, as I thought it was going to be. This record, I mean, if Tyler's record and Isbell's record are 1 and 1A in some way for me this year, SG Goodman's Planting by the Signs, not to give too much away, is right there. So really excited for that.
Yeah, I saw SG at You Got Gold at the Ryman. Mind blowing. She was so good. And then this record's amazing. Can't wait to dive into that. Folks, like we said, we just love talking about music and listening to records and supporting our favorite artists, those we listen to, and we just appreciate you following along. As always, go check out tworoadshatco.com, get you a cool looking hat, and we appreciate you.
Thank you for sharing your life's greatest hits with us.
Peace.
Thank you for sharing your life's greatest hits with us. I fumbled it the first time, so I'm going to say it.
Peace. That's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good episode, guys.
Guys.